Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with,
Christopher!
and we are podcast name in brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Alright,
We
hello
are.
Christopher, yes, hello.
Hello.
It's a bit later than normal,
Yes, it is.
for valid reasons.
Very valid reasons.
Most of it has to come down to health, and we also didn't want a repeat of the Sleepless in Virginia episode.
Yes, because I was legitimately thinking about that, because I'll state the reason why, but I was really tired today. I told John I wanted to do, early afternoon, right after church, essentially. Because I think that's what I would like to consistently do in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I was essentially almost falling asleep during church, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, do I hold to my time commitment, or do I deliver a good episode? And I want to deliver a good episode.
Well, that's good, because today's, important.
Right.
Yes, because the lovely event I got to go to.
Oh yes, the lovely event.
Yes, and for those of you listening, this is very important. Christopher,
Okay.
do you know what this is?
You're scaring me.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what this is, Christopher?
The event, yes. If there's something else going on, you're scaring me.
Yes. This, what you're listening to right now, is episode 99.
Okay, that was actually my second guess. I
Yes.
did not have a first guess.
Good.
But then as soon as you kind of started getting into it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, is this it?
Mm-hmm. And that means next week, on the 8th of November, 10 a.m., Monday, we will release episode 100.
Yay!
The episodes are already edited. It's all ready to go. We just...
Okay, I was going to ask that.
Yeah, that's why I was like saying, hey man, it's like, if we have to do this episode at midnight, like, we have to do it, because this needs to be done for tomorrow.
Done it if we had
pretty
to.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, episode 100, very important number.
Oh yeah, very important.
So please catch us next week. You'll hear from a lot of lovely people, and hopefully it will be good.
It's going to be a good time.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we tried to have when we did that one.
Yeah. So, also, wow. I'm sorry. Not to crush the moment, but so since this episode is mainly focusing on one topic, I just want to get one little thing out of the way for myself first, and then, because another reason why I really wanted to deliver a good podcast is because on my end, because Sean's going to be talking most of this episode, and I didn't want to fall asleep again while he was talking. I would feel terrible. So, but just one little thing with me. So at Sight and Sound we push really heavy sets, and you have to learn how to push things properly. Mm-hmm. I'm still learning that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So over accumulation of pushing things improperly, my back started kind of giving way a bit. Yeah. Or essentially, I have muscle strain in the right side of my back. Mm-hmm. And so at first I'm like, no, because, we already have a few people out due to injuries. Yeah. And I didn't want to go out. And so honestly, I kept doing it for a couple of shows, and then I'm like, no, I can't, because it's just kept getting worse. So I'm out for a week. I'm doing other stuff around Sight and Sound. But man, it hurts the most in bed. Like,
oh yeah,
I cannot believe how much back pain sucks in bed. I am mind blown. So yeah, so essentially my sleep schedule is crap right now, because I I go to sleep at midnight and can't sleep till 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the case last night where I fell asleep sometime after 4, woke up after 9 for church, and couldn't stay awake during church. And I took a nap. I don't know, was it 5 hours or something? So I'm in better spirits now. Right now, still my back. The doctor thinks I'll be good in a week, but he's going to keep me. He thinks I'll be better sooner, but he wants me off for a week, just to be safe. So hopefully I'll be back in the show next Friday to push sets around. This Friday, in fact. My bad. But yeah, back pain, no fun. Don't get it. Try to learn, and I'm still trying to learn, but it's still hard at the same time.
Welcome to adulthood.
So, oh my God, it didn't have to hit. It did. This happened on my 22nd birthday.
Yeah.
That was the best part. So, yeah. All right. Enough of me.
Nothing tells you you're growing old than back pain.
Yeah.
But no, speaking of injuries.
Oh, no.
It wasn't quite an injury, but it's like a similar thing of just something that happened due to a lot of just tension and stuff. Yeah. We're gearing up to do a production of Little Moon of Alban. And so
when I heard the word little, my brain went Little Women. And then you said a few more words, and my brain got confused.
Yes. It's a play about the Irish Rebellion. And I'm part of the sound team. Like, you know I'm working with Greg now, right? Right. Christopher, did you like black out for a moment? We might be having connection issues. That's pretty typical of us, really. Connection issues. I don't even know what's going on. Hey, you there still? Can you speak?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I just got back. As soon as you started saying what was going on, I think because honestly, the internet here is not good, especially at nighttime. So, so if this continues to be an issue, then we might have to call again in a bit. But let's start with no video, and let's see how this goes.
Yes, no video. The standard that we like to do, that I like to do. But yes, don't fall asleep with no video. You know that I'm working with Greg now, right? Right? Hello?
I heard something about working with Greg.
Do you know that I'm working with Greg now, right?
Hi.
Hello? One moment, people, while we try to figure this out. Yes, apologies for all that stuff. Christopher didn't tell me about his accommodations.
Yeah, because it just hasn't been an issue before, and I never think of it, because everyone gets on the internet at this time, and then, but I went ahead and closed out a lot of things on my computer as well to help, and I think that actually significantly helped. Regardless,
how many tabs did you have, Christopher?
A lot.
Mm-hmm. Like your cell phone a lot, or?
Well, the cell phone will have a lot more, but still an insane number.
Yeah.
Also, I did force quit, so that means when I reopen Chrome, it will say, "Oh, your browser was restarted somehow. You want to reopen all those tabs again?" So after this, I'll have all my tabs back. Anyways,
you don't really need them, though.
Sorry, what?
You don't really need them.
I know that, and that's the issue.
But yes, going back to what I was saying.
Yes, I apologize about that. But also, sorry, just want to say, yeah, the internet, because there's been times when internet's been pretty wonky around nighttime here. So hopefully we'll be good. Also, less stuff going on the computer. Anyways, sorry. Continue. Proceed. I apologize.
You know that I'm working with Greg, right?
Yes. Well, no. What was the show about? That I didn't even hear.
The Little Moon of Alban is a show about the Irish Rebellion.
Okay.
But yes, I work with Greg on the sound team, and because this is an academic production, I have to do 20 hours of setup work off, like, besides my job. And I've been working with...
For each show?
No, just for a show I'm assigned to.
Oh, okay, that's what I meant. I wasn't sure kind of if it was for the whole semester or if it was for the one show.
It is for the show that I'm assigned to.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've been working with the lights department, setting up the lights, and we work up in the grid. You probably don't know what that looks like, but imagine this small room, small as in height-wise, it's small.
Okay.
And about waist high, you have poles all over the place. And the only way to go around is just to climb over those poles. And I had to go back and forth a lot.
I bet you love that.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine, actually, this past week. Like, it didn't really bother me so much. I felt, honestly, it was like I was a ballerina or something up there, just dancing around all those poles, trying not to hit the light fixtures that are just hung on those poles. It's like, oh. And I was quite surprised that I wasn't feeling any pain from all of that leg stretching. And wouldn't you know it? Yesterday.
Oh no!
You know what's gonna happen?
What? You're gonna get hurt. That's all I know that's gonna happen.
Yesterday, I'm just laying on the couch, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get like the worst Charlie horse I can ever have, with like the muscle spasm and everything, on both legs at the same time. So it's like, oh, I just move one leg, all the pain comes loose. It's like, oh, what the heck? I better like put all the pressure on my other leg. I do that, then that one starts going, what the heck is going on? And it's like, you got to stabilize yourself in a way where you can just let the pain soothe out. Which means I have to crawl my way onto the floor, just laid back flat, and just let my legs go through that cycle of pain. It's the worst pain you can have, really. Like, it's not happened in so long. Like, you know, like, it happens when you, like, stretch your muscle wrong when you're lying in bed or something. It's like that. But this was both legs at the same time.
Which is, so sorry for you.
It was pretty bad. I was like laying on the floor watching TV for about 10 minutes there. Be like, oh, okay, well, nothing I can do now.
I'm sorry, buddy.
But hey, that's fun. I'm looking forward to this next week of having to do another 10 hours of this stuff.
Well, hopefully your body will be okay by then, but at the same time,
Yeah, and I won't even have a break this next week, because next week we start the official production, and so I have to... it's a lot.
Well, you want to join me in Sight and Sound and push 1,000-pound sets?
One day. When I graduate, we'll see.
That would actually be fun, I'm not going to lie, though.
I mean, if it was anything like the Soda Wagon for Bedford Boys, then...
Well, probably the whole show, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, but continuing on with illness, the week before SonicCon, I got sick.
Fun.
Yeah, like it was during spring break, the weekend of fall break.
Oh, that's a terrible.
And it's like I wasn't doing anything to make me sick, but I just got a cold and was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had this like step off of work for a couple days to just rest, which of course isn't the best thing that you want to do, especially when you're first starting out with a job. And so that was fun, but it was also like I had to audition for some stuff for SonicCon during that time as well.
And work, you mean work with Greg, right?
I mean, yeah, work with Greg. I had to audition for like this radio drama thing, which I got accepted for, which is good. But it was all. I also had to record an interview as well. For next week's podcast, and I think I did a good job at hiding my sickness in that one. You can barely tell because it's fun. It's fun. It's great. But I got well by the time we got to SonicCon, and so yeah, that was great. I didn't have to worry about infecting others.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was really worrisome. It's like, oh, will they even let me in?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm sick, oh, what's gonna happen? I don't know.
So
I hate to have to spend all this money and work so hard on this show to just not be able to come.
So this time with SonicCon, you attended instead of working for it?
I
just realized you didn't work last show either.
Yeah. And so yeah, I was able to get off of work for SonicCon because I had bought my ticket before I got the job. So
Nice.
Yes, and so I went to SonicCon. And that's the end of this podcast. No. Yeah, SonicCon, it was great. Fun times. Like, at the end of each day, I sent you a video.
Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm. Of just me saying, oh, yeah, it was fun. You should have been there, loser.
Yeah. Just really trying to make me feel bad about stuff, huh?
Yes, I was. I'm such a good friend. Drinking water. But yeah, SonicCon. Where do I begin?
Oh, you don't know where to begin?
I mean, why don't you help me out here? Give yourself some stuff to do.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Ask me questions.
So what happened on day one?
Well, why don't we start from the beginning?
It wasn't day one the beginning? Or was there stuff before day one?
Yeah, day one's the beginning. Let's start with that.
Okay, yeah. What happened on day one, John?
Well, we checked in at 2. So yeah, no. I checked.
Maybe you should find a copy of the schedule.
I am. I'm looking at it right now. Sorry.
Okay, sweet.
So we checked in. Of course, I'm like one of the first in line to check in. And
how long were you waiting in line?
Oh, there wasn't really a line.
Okay.
It was just like sitting around for like half an hour waiting for them to start. And so I got to chatting with a guy who will spend the rest of the entire convention following me around. Like a little duckling.
How many did you have in your train?
At one point we had like 3.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yes. Part of it was because this other guy was just very open and just very, hey, come sit with us. Hey, come follow us. Let's do this. Which is fine. Nice guy. His name's Sawyer, by the way. He's looking for jobs, so people, you want to hire Sawyer, go hire him. Hi, Sawyer, if you're listening. We're not talking bad stuff about you. You're a great kid. But yeah. Met with Sawyer, we talked a bit, showed him around. Then, of course, we had The Voice Cartoon Edition. If you remember from last
Oh,
year.
really?
Yes.
I don't remember. Oh, wait. The three characters make the voice for him.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we had the three characters. One was like this little elf kid. One was like this muscular unicorn guy. And one was a two-headed witch. And I auditioned for all three.
And do we hear what happened now, or do we have to wait?
I mean, I didn't get the vote, so. Sam was saying that like they had about 30 auditions for each character.
Oh wow!
And so it was difficult to find top three choices, but
right,
yeah, they found some.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I really wish I didn't do the witch, because that was just the worst decision I could have made.
Why?
On my voice.
Oh, there.
Because like I'm still coming off of a cold, and my voice wasn't at 100% at that time. Yeah. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do this thing that's gonna like ruin my throat. And it's like, because that character has two heads, they have two different sets of dialogue.
Nice.
And so, and it's a female character as well. And so I just tried this stupid thing of like, yeah, how you doing? I'm not gonna try that one because that was terrible. And then the other character was like, hey, how you doing, Christopher? It's me. Which that one was fun, but the other one was just a bad choice. But yeah, I left the audition really regretting doing that because, like, man, my voice hurt for about an hour or two. It wasn't fun.
Hey, could have been more, could have been worse.
Mm-hmm. And then it's also important that I have to differentiate between the passes, because this year SonicCon had two different weekend passes tickets. Like you were aware of that, right?
Kind of. I thought we had that last time.
No, last time was just one ticket. You go do your thing. Okay. This one was, yeah, it was very distinctive.
Gotcha.
And so I will talk about.
You guys separated people into classes and such?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, I meant like you're the nobles and you're the peasants classes.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I'll talk about this more later because it's very important. But yeah, pretty much.
I was surprised that my joke was actually reality.
It was a reality. If you were going to go to this convention, if you didn't have the Super SonicCon weekend pass, like, you had nothing to do, pretty much. I will explain in detail, but pretty much you had nothing to do because, like, after an hour after the getting your tickets, the super passes were allowed to go into the exhibition hall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from last year.
Yeah.
And so they changed the location where you got your tickets, so it's now over by LaHaye.
Mm-hmm.
And inside LaHaye was the exhibition hall. And so, of course, it was more secure.
Right.
But also because of that, it just looked very empty. Like, this big room, not a whole lot of people in it because, you know.
Classism.
Classism. And, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I go to the LaHaye. There wasn't much there. The event people weren't there yet. It was just like a couple stands and booths saying like, hey, we're a realtor company. that sponsored this event, and we have a booth.
Really?
Here. Yes. It was. I have a thing somewhere on me.
That is okay. Someone really wanted to meet Katie Lee.
Yes, it was Acri Brothers Realtors. They sponsored the event and they had their own booth there. They were offering like a free giveaway for like a microphone.
I know you came from Colorado, but hear us out for a moment. Wow.
Yeah, and they were asking me like, "Hey, do you own a house? Like, we're realtors. Do you want to know about realting?" I'm like, "No, thank you. I'll just scan your QR code and go on my way."
Wow.
And yeah, they also had like a thing from Dramify, which is what they call themselves the future Netflix of audio dramas.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the name is a ripoff of Spotify or parody.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it works out for them.
Because I hope so too.
There was Lamplighter which was.
Oh, sorry, just a thought. I actually pitched the idea of Dramify to JD at last SonicCon. At last SonicCon, and I don't think he is. I don't think he's behind Dramify, but the fact that it does now exist makes me really happy. So
yeah, I think he is in connection with him now.
I wouldn't be surprised
because like he was part of their panel when they did their panel.
Sweet.
Yes, and of course JD Stutter was there.
Yes, yay.
Yes, I mean he wasn't. I don't really know him, so
I'd
be like, hey, it's JD. Christopher likes him, but he's not here. Oh right, yeah. Setting up, yeah. Mariah, she was working on this weekend as well.
Okay.
Your friend Mariah, and so
Sprinkle, right?
Sure.
Sure.
She was the one who had her play read last semester.
Yes. Last year. Did she have a play this year?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I met her officially.
Sweet.
Yeah, she was part of the soundboard. She worked on the soundboard for some of the stuff.
Okay.
And so yeah, she's a good kid. I don't know why I keep calling people kid. It's
I do that too. It's a form of ageism.
Sure.
We look down on people younger than us.
Well, no, I think it's a compliment for me. It's like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm saying how young you are. It's like, hey,
that's a compliment.
Hey. Yeah, it's like, because you don't want people to feel like they're old. I'm like, hey, kid, it means that they're youthful. But people take it personally for some reason.
I've always kind of treated it as like, ha, you're young and you're stupid. You're a kid.
Some people say it as an insult. Me, I'm like, hey, it's a compliment. Hey, kiddo.
Okay, sweet. I'm glad you're able to do that because sometimes I mean it more as a sarcastic insult.
I mean, I can do it, but then people are like, don't call me that. I'm like, okay. Oh. And then I feel bad.
And you don't want to make John feel bad.
No, because when you make John feel bad, you start feeling bad. But yes, the exhibition hall, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked around. Yeah. Looked around. Stuff was there.
Sounded like a very exciting exposition hall.
I mean, you get to talk to people and they'll like say, hey, we got job opportunities if you're looking at that. And so, yeah, that's great. But like this, you're going to be coming back to this hall many times.
Mm.
And there's not much change to it.
So with these quote job opportunities, are they more volunteer opportunities or actual job opportunities?
I don't know. I mean, really depends on what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I think, excuse me. Most of it was like volunteer stuff. But that's pretty much getting your foot in the door.
Right.
And like in the future, we can do some stuff. But yeah, exhibition hall, what they had there was cool, but like you could go through the entire thing in like an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens like your first day, pretty much.
And John did not like that. Not
no.
bit.
Like it was fine and all, but it's like I kept going back in there hoping to see something new show up.
Right.
And there wasn't really much new showing up.
That's fair.
Besides like Katie Lee and Butch Hartman, which I'll get to that later. But yeah, the convention had their opening ceremonies. It was yeah. Oh yes. Of course, like leading up to SonicCon, I was part because I work with Greg. I helped set up like the microphones and stuff, and I was able to watch the rehearsals for the band that play, and then Mr. Nelson's rehearsal for introduction, and then for each panel. Okay, this is the lighting that we got for this panel. All right, you guys bring in the chairs. Let's time that. Okay, good. On to the next panel, and like that was interesting to see that they were rehearsing that. And so we come to opening ceremonies, and I'm like, hey, I got to watch this rehearsal earlier. And it's like, oh, he's playing out. Yay. And the first thing that we had was Butch Hartman, who, for those who don't know, he's the creator of Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, and other childhood stuff, which you haven't seen.
Which I haven't seen, but I've seen him.
You've seen him. He came to Liberty a couple years ago. And you know what his keynote was?
The same thing?
The exact same thing. His presentation was the exact same presentation that he gave at Liberty a couple years ago.
And how did John feel about that?
I mean, I was fine. Like, I was taking notes this time.
Okay. Like, so, I heard this before. This time I can take notes.
I can take notes. Like, it's still good stuff, you know.
Right.
He's still teaching good stuff, but it was also like, oh, okay, well, that's nothing that I haven't heard before. But you know, at least you know other people get a chance to hear this. But you know, that's cool. Wrote notes. Take opportunities, make connections, have a clear vision, and hopefully results will appear. Yada yada yada. Don't be afraid. And so it's pretty much his keynote was about your vision and how to make your vision possible. And then right after that, we had more time at the exhibition hall. Which luckily Butch Hartman was there to draw and sign autographs, which I did. I got an autograph drawing of a character from the show.
Nice.
Not because he was my favorite character, but because it's like, you know what? That's like a bizarre character that no one really thinks about. Why not just do him? Yeah, he was fine. He was nice. I chatted with like the other couple people that was roped into our group who didn't really know anyone else at this convention. That's why we grabbed them.
Yeah.
Pretty much kidnapped them. And then after that, we had our live radio dramas. Our, like, you know how last year we had like our 2 episodes of Scarlet House? So, similar thing where we had like 2 pilot episodes of 2 different series.
Okay.
One was Secrets of Black Ridge, and the other one was called Chicken Skin. And the curious thing about Chicken Skin was that it wasn't the original show that was supposed to be here. It was supposed to be another show called The Mist, and for some reason they couldn't make it.
Wait, The Mist, is that another encounter?
No, it's not.
Okay. It completely sounds like one.
I know. I know it's just the same thing, but yeah, chicken skin. Nelson just called Sam Van Fossen. You know what that is?
I don't, honestly.
Okay, that's fine. But he's like, hey, Sam, can you like write a show in about a month? And Sam did, and that's the one that people preferred.
Interesting.
And now, and like, it was so sad because Secrets of Blackridge was like, they spent months working on that.
Right.
And here comes Sam, 1 month in. Here you go. People are like, oh yeah, this stuff is great. And I feel the same way. Chicken Skin was definitely the better show. And there's a good reason why. Because Chicken Skin was an episodic thing, where each episode was going to be its own different story, instead of like this series-long thing of arcs and stuff. And Blackridge wasn't much of it was not a great first episode. Honestly, good ideas, but it really felt like half of an episode. Because there was no plot. It was just like, hey, welcome to our town. Here's the characters. Oh, by the way, let's end this episode. Yep.
That sounds like a great way to...
I mean, of course they put in, like, here's the mysterious thing happening. Oh, mystery. Let's end the episode now. No one knows. Like, no one in the audience knows what's going on. But I do, because, like, I knew a bit of what their plan is going forward. But it's also like, no one else knows any of this.
Right.
So, like, watching this from the perspective of not knowing anything, it's like, what the heck is this? I don't know what's going on. And so, yeah, Chicken Skin was the better one because it was, like, a full story in one episode.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, is that's a little almost odd. Like, it almost makes me, dare I say, think about Dune, which I have not seen. But the fact that I heard that the first movie is based on the first half of the first book, and I think there's some people who's like disappointed because they haven't read the book.
Right.
And so that's interesting, because like even Iron Man, like, that's a complete story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not to make real like comparisons like this, but comparing at the same time. It's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, and it's like the exact same problems that all the new works had last year, where they were all pilots of an episodes, and they weren't telling a full story except for Mariah. But you know, they had potential. I think I enjoy the new works better this year. We'll get to that. After that was, late night activities, so they had listening lounges and stuff. But I just left.
What a loser!
Yeah, I left to go sleep.
Okay.
Because it was 10:30 at night.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Not a loser.
Yeah, and of course the next day we had master classes.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because I slept in the first master class or two last time because of our late night activities. So yeah, okay, you made a good choice.
But going back to the classism with the badges, master classes were only for super badges.
Oh.
And for people who wanted to like go to events, the only first event they had is at 2:30. Versus super, we got to show up at 9 o'clock in the morning. That really shows you just some of the issues that I've suggested this feedback afterwards to them to say, hey, we should have something more for these people because they have nothing. Your sisters, they got the super passes, but your mother had the basic one.
Oh no!
Yeah. And so your mom was like, "Hey, they should like, I don't know, give us food or something." That's what she said. Like they should give us food. But yeah, that was I was just feeling bad for those people who thought that they were gonna have like all this stuff that they had last year, but didn't get it. The other main downside with the master classes was that there was just so many good options that I just couldn't fit in the schedule.
Yeah, that was one. Also, I don't want to say disappointing, but there's so many good options. It's like I feel like bunching up 4 in an hour like that is almost unfair because you want to go to all 4. I don't know, have 2 in an hour. Not only that, the master classes will have more attendance, but also less options, and you can. But the thing is, they have so many other like keynotes and other activities they want to do. I don't know. That's hard.
And also this year, they had no repeats of master classes. And so
that sounded like a good fun time.
And so like I had to choose between a different one. So like for the first master class, there's Secrets of Directing Audio Drama with John Fornoff. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
The Pursuit, the ins, outs, successes, and pitfalls, I guess, of the career. I mean, that's interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Character is King by this guy. It's like, okay, that sounds like something. And then Trick or Treat sounds good. It's a sound design class with Cornel Kirshner. I believe he was your professor?
Yes, he was.
I took his class.
How was that? How was that?
Honestly, he was you know all those projects you were showing me?
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much went over all of that. It's like, oh hey, here's that time we did Gravity and changed the audio design on that. Also, here's that time where we changed the trailer and changed the audio to make it seem like something else.
Did he do the Star Wars one that sounded like a Western?
Yes, he did.
That is amazing.
That is amazing, yes.
So good.
But yeah, there I learned. There I took notes. Don't know what they mean. I will next semester. I'm not gonna say anything because
I will say though, like I legitimately was missing Professor Gershner the other day. I'm like, I miss him.
Yeah.
So.
And then the next class, the choices were all about demo reels with Josh Nicholson, which I took last year. Then there was storytelling through animation with Butch Hartman, which sounds like a great class. There's also dialogue, the engine of audio theater. That sounds like a great class. And then the one I took was exploring sound design in cinema. And that was with another professor, James Waltz.
Okay, question. Why are you taking master classes with the professors?
Well, I didn't know who they were.
But are you taking classes with Gershner next semester, you said?
I might. I don't know who I'm taking them with.
I mean, it's not to say that that's a terrible idea, but it's also like they would probably go through those things in their classes.
Yeah, here's the thing. I chose based upon the subject. And
that
for me,
it
was
fair.
like,
okay.
For me, I was like, this year I want to take more sound design and engineering. And that's what sense. I took, and they were all the professors.
Okay, I can't blame you there with
that one was actually a good class.
Okay.
He was just showing us different clips.
Oh wait, Walls. He's a cinema professor, right?
Yes, he is.
Oh, good man. Love that man.
Yes, and so he was showing us different clips. Like some of them have the same sound effect, but they're used differently in the films. And I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're showing us like, hey, This is how they made those sound effects. It was like, whoa, really? That's so
Now
neat.
I wish I took a class with him, but he isn't in my department. Aww.
Right? Yeah.
Well, no, I actually did take. I took Pro Tools with him, but nothing sound design. My bad, but still.
Yeah. Fun guy. The Butch Hartman one would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
So would the other ones, but it's also like you gotta choose.
Yeah.
You gotta choose like stuff. And then the next one. We have Finding Your Voice, which is something. Getting started
with Katie Lee?
No, that's with someone else.
Oh, okay.
Katie Lee showed up later that day.
Okay.
There was Getting Started with Voiceover with Josh Nicholson, which I took last year. There were Top Mistakes New Producers Make with JD Stutter. And then the one I took was 3 Power Tools for Writers with John Fornoff.
And how was that?
That was a good one. Yeah. Just going over the basics of like, here is your structure. Typically your stories have this, and then this one, and then this one. That's how your stories go. And you can change your stories. And so one of the big takeaways from this is to respect the audience, and also that we don't need a product for Jesus.
Okay, explain that.
Which is pretty much just saying, it's like, don't make your thing so preachy. It's like, just let your stories be stories.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be like, oh, I have to make this product for Jesus. Like, your stories are for Jesus, with or without all the convoluted stuff. Then we had more exhibition hall.
Your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite. Followed by lunch. And then we went back to Butch Hartman. Because he had like a master class for everyone to take for supers. And this one was called Powerful Pitching. And it was pretty much pitching your idea to a studio. Which was cool. You know, he was like saying, hey, you gotta do this kind of packet. Like, yeah, tell us what this thing is, Like, know your idea and make sure you can tell us this idea in like 30 seconds. And then by the end of the the big 3 notes that I wrote down here were like passion, patience, and persistence are the big 3 things that you have when doing this. And at the end of his master class, we had Sam Van Fossen, who did the drawings and who wrote Chicken Skin. He had the opportunity to pitch a show to Butch.
Oh.
And it was pretty neat. The audience really enjoyed that.
Did Butch enjoy it?
Yeah. It was like, Sam, you did a good job. I would accept this show. Yes. And then we broke off into like different panels that you can watch. One of them was called The Watch. I have no idea what that thing was about because I went and saw the panel for Dramafy. And they're saying like, yeah, this is our thing, yada yada. And then the second panel block we had from Abide, which you heard about last year. And then something called Brinkman Adventures.
Yes.
And I went to Brinkman Adventures, which was neat.
Was JD in that too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. JD was...
I think he's a fan, but I know he's not part of it. But I was wondering if he would host it or something.
No, I think JD was probably with Abide.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then the next the next infamous part of this convention was a keynote by Nato Jacobson, who's a voice actor. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
That was definitely the low point of this convention. Because let me tell you about NATO. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
But a terrible public speaker. He hosted 2 master classes before this. And everyone hated him.
Oh, no.
And it was just like, NATO, what he's saying is good. Like, all the stuff he's saying is good. But how he's saying it is, like, so boring.
Mm.
And you're just waiting for the clash to end. You're, like, looking around. There's no proper structure for what he's saying. And I feel bad for the guy.
Right.
But it's also, like, he wasn't doing that great a job. I didn't even take notes during this because I had no idea what I was supposed to be learning here. And so the way NATO speaks is yeah, I'm NATO, a Jacobson, you know, like this. I'm this guy who does this sort of show, you know. And today's message is called "Bread in the Water." You know, like that's it. That's NATO right there, spot on. That's NATO.
That's
And
rough.
It's really rough to the point where I'm looking around and I noticed this this issue with lights, where on top of the stage you have these moving lights, and the lights are off, but those things are still moving, and they're making this noise as well. And like for like half of its thing, I'm wondering, it's like, what the heck's that noise? It's like, is that sirens? Is that the wind? Then I just look up and see that those things moving. It's like, oh, hey, those lights are moving. They probably shouldn't be doing that. And so I text Greg. I'm like, hey, Greg, should these lights be moving? And like, he's like, all he sends back is like an emoji of laughter. You know, the crying laughter emoji. And he's like, yeah, this is a pretty boring one. And everyone else had the same thing. It was like, man, those lights were like super annoying. My gosh. And because Tornado was going so slow, like we went past our scheduled time.
Oh no.
And like,
how long was he supposed to speak?
For an hour.
And he went longer than an hour?
Yes, he did. He went longer. Like, the people in the booth, I could tell that they were like, hey, like, finish this up. Because they started messing with lights. Like, they're like turning random lights on and off, saying like, hey, this is your signal. Stop. NATO didn't catch any of that.
He was engaged.
Like, his speech was called Bread in the Water. And yet I had no idea what he was saying was connected to that. You know, like we had the main faults of last year where microphones weren't working and stuff like that. Well, here the biggest faults that we can have is just the discoordination between the guests and the band. Because NATO ends his speech with, in the strangest way possible, it's like, so yeah, like, we have all this hope in his life, but I'm gonna end with a story about this girl who's dying. And he just pulls up a picture of the girl on the projector, and he's like, so one of her last words were like these lines that I wrote for a script. Thank you. And the band's like, what do we do now? So they just start playing just the happy music, like Gummy Bears. the transition to the next thing, NATO is super confused. Is like, what the heck? Like, this is a somber moment. Like, what the heck? And it's just so awkward. Like transitioning into the next segment, which was Q&A with some of the other actors. It was a fun time.
If you ask me, that's a beautiful transition.
It was. It was so beautiful. What even made this so much better is that after this one, we had the main event of the entire convention, which was Animaniacs in concert, which everyone's like, please, Anne, we need to go to the concert. Please, Anne, I want to go.
Aww. And it's halfway across campus.
It is. Don't worry. We had plenty of time, but you're still like, I just want to go already. Like, come on. But yeah, NATO, great guy. Just, I wouldn't have him be a presenter as he was. So yeah, I went to dinner. I went to the concert. And yeah, the concert, the Animaniacs Live in concert. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. It was, I'd watch that show. I'd love all the songs, but hearing those songs live in person was just something else.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, like seeing Rob and Maurice.
I'm just sad Just Renell couldn't be there.
Yeah. But they made it work.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, the biggest thing also that we weren't told as attendees is that there's no proper meet and greet for Rob and Maurice. Like, they had no time at the exhibition hall. So all we had was their appearance at the concert and their appearance on Sunday for a keynote. And then they were gone.
Oh, wow.
And we were not told that we weren't going to have a proper meet and greet. Because poor Sawyer brought all of his stuff to get autographed.
To the exhibition hall?
Like to the convention the entire time. He's like, but he's just opening his bag, pulling out all his pops. It's like, we're going to get this one signed by Rob and this one signed by Maurice. It's like, it's going to be so great. And then we didn't. Which is sad. But
Poor
yeah,
man.
The concert, loved it. Great. Orchestra did amazing. The guys did fantastic, of course. And of course, the closing song was like their most famous song, the Nations of the World. Are you familiar with that song?
I am not.
Okay. Pretty much it's just a song where he sings the names of the entire nations of the world.
Oh, okay. No, I am familiar with that one then.
Yes. And like Rob Paulson, I've seen videos of this online. Like he knows the song by memory, which is amazing. Wow. They did something even more amazing in this one. They synced up the original video to his performance.
Oh, wow.
And he was spot on the entire time.
Wow.
That was just, what? Whoa, bruh, yo. That was a great time. I know I sent you a video afterwards saying like, bro. Great stuff, bro. And that was Saturday. That was the end of the night. I went home, went to bed. And then we showed up on Sunday the next day, where we didn't start with the church service. Yet. We started with a master class. And so the master class was the voice-analities with Kay Lee. The one we had with her last time. And then there was story. Thing? Yeah, same thing. And then there was story and cultural impact with Phil Waller, which is what I took. That wasn't the class that I expected it was. Because Phil, my gosh, taking notes was so difficult. Because like he didn't have like a PowerPoint where I can write stuff down. and like he doesn't say things like a modern person. He uses such descriptive words.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's an amazing sentence. And I begin to write that down, and I forget what he said. It was like, what? What did he say? I don't know. I don't know how he said it, because he uses those very descriptive words. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I can't. It's great. But also, his class was very like a theology class instead of like story and culture impact. I'm like, what's he going with this? Like, when are we getting the story? Because this is theology right here. What's going on? But his class was great. He was a bit long with this class, but that was fine. The next thing, which was another main event with Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche, where they had a master class on how they got there, pretty much a keynote. And that was good. Didn't really write down much notes because they were just talking about how they got there. The biggest thing, the takeaway, is just the chance to audition is a win. And don't deify people. Which are good lessons to learn. I gotta drink water. Yeah, and so after that was exhibition hall, and we were expecting to see them there, but they weren't there. They were gone. They had left. We weren't told. Then it was lunchtime, and then we had our SonicCon Sunday church service with John Fornoff speaking on Psalms 23. And that was fun. That was good. And right after that, we had our New Works Festival, where they showed off the new works. Let's see. We had Pat Walker Mysteries, which is fine. We also had Broadcast Babylon, which was very confusing. Actually, I had no idea what was going on most of the time. Until like the final 2 minutes, when it was like, "Whoa, this guy's getting murdered," and then the last two new works that they showed were like the best, and like they were really good. Was Welcome Home by Josh Reed. Don't know if you know the guy.
Don't think so.
Okay, and then another one where we had the industry guest voice, and that was good too. Those were great. And the last official panel thing was called Fort Blanket Review Live with the Adventures in Odyssey people, where they were essentially performing like a live episode of Adventure in Odyssey. And it was basically Katie Lee, Phil Lawler, and Kimmy Robertson. Do you know who Kimmy is?
Yes.
Yes, Kimmy. Oh, she's such a character. She's such a character. Very nice character. Oh man, she was great. I met her afterwards, and she was like so sweet.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, especially like since like she sounds like that in real life, and it's like, whoa,
yeah,
wow, that's amazing.
Just like Katie Lee. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And then, like, because I heard like Ruth went to see Katie and Kimmy talk, and it's essentially just the two of them talking, right? And they sound the same. It's just like. Just imagine, like, that's just crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and she was also just weird. Like, she just like, hey, let's dance. And she'd do this little dance. And yeah, this last show definitely was where the band had no idea what was going on. Because, like, their show ends, and you think it ends. And like, the audience is clapping, and the band's like, okay, let's transition. And Phil's like, no, stop, we're not done. And so the band stops, and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing. He points to the band and says, "Hit it, maestro." But the band didn't know that was actually a scripted line meant for the projectionist to play a video. And so the projectionist plays a video, and the band starts playing the next thing.
That is beautiful.
It is. And they finally figured it out. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then the band starts playing the next thing afterwards. They had a Q&A. We had a closing session. I said goodbye to people. And, that was the end of the con, essentially.
And so, in comparison to last year, what are your thoughts?
It's hard to say. They're both really good years.
Mm-hmm.
I could say that this one felt a little bit more professional.
Mm-hmm. I figured that would happen. Like you tried it once and then you get better next time for sure.
Yes, even though they created all new problems with their classism. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed the weekend. Especially being followed by people I didn't know the entire time. It was fun talking. Yeah, all good stuff. I could always go for some more. The price was understandable considering who they had brought this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, oh, I didn't get to meet them though, so the price was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that it is a bit concerning whether or not we're actually going to have one next year.
Right.
Because we didn't do so well this year.
In terms of sales.
Especially since, like, Nelson had to give away the 50% off for the weekend pass.
Mm.
And then 80% off for the concert.
That I'm not surprised, honestly.
I mean, and like I was overhearing Nelson later on, and he was like, I'm just so frustrated because, like, I don't think I got my money's worth on advertising and all this because
right.
And just advertising the convention alone, I think it was like roughly $10,000.
Oh wow!
And I don't think we made that much.
Oh wow!
And he's also saying that people were buying their tickets like the week of, or like the couple days before the day of, because the concert. He said that until the week of the concert, they maybe only had less than 100 people. But the week of the concert came and they got 400 people.
At least they were able to get a few more.
For 80% off.
Hmm.
Which was... It must be frustrating. Being like,
yeah.
I'm not making any money. This is not going to work. Like, the Animaniacs people, they enjoyed it. They were shocked by the just applause that we gave. It was like, wow, you guys really like us. And I think part of it was because, like, we're college students, and we're theater students, so we will cheer at everything.
Yeah.
Of course, they're willing to come back, but Nelson's like, they're willing to come back, but like, we can't afford them again.
Right.
Essentially. And so we're not sure what's going to happen next year. They'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the really sad thing, is that you almost think that with the people who attend Liberty, that there would be straight up and down more Odyssey fans than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are not. Like, legitimately, there is not that culture at all at Liberty. And so, like, if you look from the outskirts, knowing nothing, you would think it would do amazingly. But we just don't have that culture at Liberty.
Yeah.
And you know, if it was a movie convention, you know, more people are more into movies than audio dramas.
Yeah.
So audio dramas itself is a niche, not to mention Odyssey. Which honestly, like if you know audio dramas, you should know Odyssey. So really, they're hand in hand.
Yeah.
It is sad, honestly, and I really wonder, like, if. So I think, like, if we're to have another successful year, it would have to be in at least a year and a half away, like it. To create the demand, like, oh, why isn't it here this year? Oh, well, it will be here next year. You know what I mean?
I also feel like part of it had to do with, like, the timing of everything was just so terrible, because it should have been fine, but then, of course, Corona came back with a stronger form, which meant that some people canceled their stuff. CJ didn't come because of that, because of Corona. I mean, that's the big one. It was also probably having something to do with that the convention wasn't really during a fall break. Yeah, and also, like, the price was just so much more than what it was last year.
I really wonder, like, should the convention happen somewhere else? You know what I mean? Like, because now, and this is something I'm personally legitimately concerned about, but, now we have another story about Liberty out in the news.
Yeah.
Which honestly really breaks my heart. What's going on with that?
Especially considering, like, what it means to some people.
And so,
which,
like,
we'll talk about that in a later episode.
Okay, thank you, because I want to talk about it at some point.
Yeah, it's so important that, like, we have to talk about this.
And I want to hear how, like, because I'm not in Virginia as it is. I don't know, like, what the culture at Liberty is like right now. You know what I mean? So I want to hear it from your perspective.
You're not going to get much from me in that perspective, because I'm not in tune with the culture.
That's fair. But the little things you got, I mean, a little context.
Yes, a little bit of context.
But so, Liberty is entrenched in too much right now. Like, this is my big idea. What if the convention happened next time at the Focus on Family Welcome Center? Like,
where's that?
That's in Colorado Springs.
Then
so
I wouldn't be able to go.
I understand that, but I really wonder, like, to have that at the place of Odyssey, essentially. Like, I feel like that would almost draw more people.
Yeah,
I don't think. And also, you're hitting that section of the country that the people who couldn't go to Virginia might be able to go to Colorado.
Another thing about why we have it here is because, like, a lot of it is Liberty funded as well.
True.
Like, the money for this convention comes from the department. And so, like, in order for them to keep doing this, they have to convince the department that this is worthwhile. And it's like they're really struggling at this point right now. There's a thing about Adventures in Odyssey that is interesting that I noticed that might be something. I believe that there's something going on behind the scenes with Adventures in Odyssey.
That's concerning, or?
Yes, that's concerning. Because, Will Ryan, he wasn't able to come this weekend. And that happens. Like, we think, that happens. But I was meeting with Katie Lee, and I was overhearing the conversation, and they were asked, like, hey, do you know why Will didn't come? And, like, there's a moment where I'm looking at her, and she's trying to figure out what to say. And it wasn't like one of those things where it's like, oh, he got busy with something else, he had to cancel. It was more like she had an expression that was like, I have sensitive information that I can't tell you,
Mm.
but I have to think about how to express it.
Mm.
And her, I guess the way she said it was like, oh, something came up, and that's all I can say right now. And like it wasn't like a normal cheerful way. There was a little bit of like concern from her. And then later on in the Q&A with when they had their panel with Phil, some shocking thing happened where an audience member asked a perfectly ordinary question, and Phil's demeanor just changes completely. And do you remember after you had your accident, whenever people would bring up the accident, you would shake your leg a lot?
Really? Because I feel like, first off, I do that a lot, but I mean, yeah,
it's a very noticeable. This was a new tick that showed up when discussing this traumatic thing. The exact same thing happened with Phil, where like he was normally composed as normal, and then this thing gets brought up, and all of a sudden, like he's flabbergasted. He's shaking his leg. Katie puts her hand on his shoulder in comfort, and like they don't say anything explicit or anything, but it's like this. There's subtle signs going on that's telling me there's something that we're not knowing here, and it's a hard question. And Phil answers the question in a strange way.
Do you remember the question and answer?
The question was saying, it's like, hey, do you know like any actors or people who came to faith because of their involvement with the production? And I believe Phil misheard the question. And
because he answered weirdly, I guess.
He answered weirdly, like a general answer or something. It's like, oh yeah, people enjoy something, and then like this weird afterthoughts, like, oh, you know, like some people, like they're not always going to be with us soon, and it's like, whoa, Phil, that's a strange thing to say. And so, I didn't ask anything afterwards at the exhibition though. It was just like I noticed those things, and I wasn't gonna like push anything about it. It's just speculation, but it's one that's like there's some kind of subtle undertone going on that we don't know, but something could be happening soon.
So I can only add more wood to the fire. I can't give context.
Okay.
Kind of. Well, no, maybe this is context. I don't have information. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I did my interview with Focus on Family, they were blunt in saying, you know, we've been like Dave Arnold, like he was there from essentially the beginning, you know, and he was one of the people interviewing me. He's like, you know, we're getting older. We're looking to pass this on to people. You know, we have to find people that we can trust. They started the apprenticeship program that, you know, they can be with them for years, see if they are perfect to essentially carry on Odyssey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the it's not just the people behind the scenes who are getting older; the actors themselves are getting older. And I don't know anything about Will Ryan's condition, but Andre Stoka of Wit, he's in his 80s. I think he's 86. He's their third Wit. You know what I mean? These actors, Odyssey is what, 35 years old or something. You know, Will and Katie have been there since the beginning. Because, you know, I mean, obviously, we've had some young people in the recent days die, like Mac Miller, XXX, Tacion, I don't know how to say that name. But, you know, but we've also had a lot of older people die. And not just like a few, but like a lot. And I think, and a lot of people are like, why are so many people dying? It's like, well, because these people got famous in the 70s, and now they're old, and now they're dying. And, you know, we didn't have necessarily those famous people that many like in the 20s. You know what I mean? For them to so many to die in the 70s. I could be wrong, but at the same time, like you think about today, how many influencers are? There's way too many. I would assume there are more influencers who are popular today than there were bands back then. You know what I mean? That's an assumption, but I think it's a pretty accurate one because, this landscape is growing. Anyways, yeah, I mean, like when I met Phil, like I was really, like almost surprised just how old he is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess I should have seen that coming, but like he's not young. um, and yeah, and that's reality that the people are getting old, but that's almost sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. And that almost it really makes me wonder, like, so obviously with my interview, it's very obvious that they want to keep on doing Odyssey. I mean,
Yes.
from a business standpoint, I think it's smart because you can't say we're getting old, we're gonna do a soft reboot of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's not going to do well because it's under a new name. Like, I don't know how well Odyssey is doing successfully, but I'm going to assume it's not going to be successful enough to do a reboot of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they have to keep on the name. So they have to transition somehow, whether they choose to keep the characters and get new actors or transition out the characters for new main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, with me, they interviewed me to see if I can be essentially part of the next generation of Odyssey. Man, that's almost heavy to think about. It's reality, but wow.
Mm. But yeah, that was a bit of like a somber thought I was having at the end. It's like, I hope they're okay.
Mm-hmm. I hope so too. I hope, like, there's an element where as much as I hate it to be that, I almost hope it is that and nothing else. I hope there's no division going on because that would suck. Because essentially getting old is reality, and as much as that sucks, you can't do anything about it. But division is something that you can actively play a hand in. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yes. And just moving on into some more things about SonicCon. The event was great. I enjoyed it. And going back to just the classism, like I said before, there wasn't a whole lot for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of their stuff was like afternoon stuff, like after lunchtime, after like 2-3 o'clock, and there wasn't a whole lot for them to do. Like you get to be part of like 2 panels, and then some listening lounges, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like it wasn't really enough. And so like I suggested to them afterwards, like, hey, maybe next year, just give them a little bit more something to do. Like, maybe have like a listening lounge that goes on the entire day that they can go to, or like have
That's not a bad idea, honestly.
That's a good idea. Have like maybe some student-led shows that they can go and see, or have like more competitions or something like that. Just something, so that I just, for them to have a little bit more excitement than just being like, oh boy, my morning is like nothing. I also suggested like maybe in the future we can branch out more towards like live radio. Like maybe you can bring in like radio hosts and some of their shows and stuff. Maybe you can bring in musicians and see how that works.
Or even the like you brought Animaniacs. I mean, even the animation side of
and that's pretty much what was this year. They brought Animaniacs. They brought Butch.
Right.
And so, yeah, hopefully we get to see even more next year.
Mhm.
Or if we continue, just like even more. Like I love to see news anchors, the good ones, bring Janet Partial from Media Radio. I'd love to see her.
And
And
his name I don't remember.
James Arnold Taylor.
Yes.
Bring my boy. Yeah. Please. Need him. Those are the main things that I would suggest in the future to do. Just more stuff for basic passes, or just not have a basic pass anyway. Just have it just be the larger price. Because I understand why you gave the option. It's like, oh, people may not want that one, so let's just give them the basic one. But in doing so, you're like, you got classism going on, and then people aren't enjoying as much. And of course, like the 2 days after SonicCon, they show off the student works that you can go and see. Like for production, you know what that is, right?
I'm sorry, my brain missed out.
Yeah. So like the chicken skin and Black Ridge, the ones that they're producing. They do that again for like the next 2 days for like normal people not related to SonicCon to come and see. And the last show, I mixed the show.
How did that go?
Oh my gosh, I was so terrified. It's like the day before, it's like, this guy, he's not scheduled for tomorrow. Hey, John, you want to mix the show? I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, what? No, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, then I just went to bed, thought it over. The next day, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
That's a very John thing to say.
It is. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I go away for hours. Hours later, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But yeah, it was just like, if this was a rehearsal, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try it. But this was like a performance, and I was like, oh no, I'll screw it up. I don't know what I'm doing. But luckily, it was just a simple, easy enough thing to do. That it wasn't like crazy things having to be perfect timing. It's like, okay, just make sure they're not too loud or too low. It's like, okay, that's good. And that was fun. And that was the end of SonicCon for me.
Yay! There's an aspect where I'm sad I wasn't there, but also kind of glad I wasn't, because I'm still trying to situate myself in my new life.
Yeah.
Feel, first off, I'm not financially stable enough to do so, but also mentally not ready enough to, like, quote, travel. And honestly, like, I have a few friends that got engaged in October and such, and I swear, if I'm not invited to any of those weddings, then I will cry. But I hope to be invited to at least one of them, and I would definitely try to go see that. I feel like that's the soonest I'd travel.
Yeah, go see a wedding.
Well, I think it would also be like a good social gathering type of thing, because I'd see friends. So
yeah.
Besides the people getting married, like the people invited, like I'd expect some people I.
Oh yes. By the way, Christopher. Season 4 of The Encounter is now airing.
It is?
It is.
No one told me about this.
Yeah, it started last week.
Okay, good to know. Yay! Not that I'm gonna listen. I still haven't heard season 2 yet.
Go watch your episodes.
Good to know. Huh?
Watch your episodes that you recorded years ago.
Oh, so
yeah, you re-recorded them.
Okay.
Yes, I know, but it's like you did record them years ago initially.
Yeah. Let me. Okay, I just wrote down encounters airing now. Yay. Yeah, no, that's crazy. 17, I first recorded the lines, and 21, they're finally releasing. Yay!
Yay!
Wow.
Yay!
That makes me happy.
That was
now
so
I
long
can.
ago.
Now I can. Now I have bragging rights that no one will think it's cool, but whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, another thing that we missed together, Christopher. 2 years of us doing this podcast together.
Has it already been?
Yes.
What? I thought
Yes.
it'd be like in the spring that it would have been 2 years.
No,
What?
it was the fall.
What?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah, congratulations.
Huh. Wow. Well, congratulations to you too.
Yes. Yeah, I'm celebrating almost 6 years for me.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
Clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap, clap.
So anyway, Christopher, how are you doing?
How am I doing? Well, I'm like there's like a flood of emotions ish, like it's wild to think that season 4 Encounter is airing now. I'm really happy we're finally that's finally happening. I bet Chris Nelson is overjoyed.
To be done with it? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Man. Here's the thing. Like I don't think I did my lines spectacularly, so I'm really curious to hear them in context as the other characters may carry me. You know what I mean?
Of course, that was years ago, but
Well, no. I mean, I re-recorded all the lines. Like
Yeah.
none of the 2017 dialogue of me is being used. So
Yeah.
so still, I know I would think I did better than in 17, but I don't know. That was an experience
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, so like I would probably listen for my parts, and that is very selfish, but I
No,
don't.
I do that all the time.
Okay, yay. And then that's crazy to think we've been doing this for 2 years. Hope we can do it for longer, which I think we will. Honestly,
We've been doing this for 100 episodes. I guess.
yeah, that is
I've
amazing.
I've been doing it.
I've joined you for about half of them.
I've done 100 episodes. Oh
that is amazing. Yeah. So right now it's not like emotional, it's emotion filled. You know what I mean? Like it's like interesting, like wow, type of moment. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Did you see the new Lightyear trailer?
I did. There. By the way, there was a meme that because Chris Evans didn't finish his To Infinity line, and they compared it to the Avengers in Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
Avengers, the end. To Infinity, the end. So like I've only seen the first Toy Story. I want to watch the others. And I don't think I need the others to enjoy Lightyear. In fact, I don't even think I need the first one. However, definitely for a lot of people because of the character. Obviously, it's nice to know what Toy Story is going into Lightyear. Regardless, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think it because that was the teaser trailer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of plot for me to be like interesting, but it's another Pixar movie set in space.
Looks good.
It looks great. Honestly, I feel like I'm more or less going for that looks great, and I'm not necessarily one who acknowledges beauty type. I'm not necessarily that type of person. Which, by the way, I'll get to that in a moment. But I was like watching Wall-E the other night to help me fall asleep. And I'm just like, it just looks good. And, to have another thing set in space, I think would be really cool. I like, yeah, I it's hard to really articulate my excitement because I'm not like over the moon, but I'm excited enough where I'm planning to watch it in theaters.
Yeah.
Are you planning to watch it in theaters?
Probably not in theaters, no. But I'm interested in this one.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been interested in a Pixar film.
Yeah. Because, the other one they're releasing this year is Seeing Red, and that does not look interesting to me at all.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
I think it's Seeing Red and Buzzier. Yeah, I think those are the two.
Buzzier?
Is it called Buzzier?
No, you said Buzzier.
What's it called?
Lightyear.
Lightyear. Okay. Buzz Lightyear. Okay, there we go.
But yeah, I was confused about what the movie was supposed to be.
Lightyear?
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't how you described it.
How did I describe it?
You described it as this is a movie about the man the toy is inspired by.
Uh-huh.
What it actually is, according to people, is that this is a movie inspired by the toy. So, this is a movie that the characters from Toy Story can go to the movies and watch.
Technically.
Yes, I believe that's how it's described as.
Wait. They're actually...
This is a canon movie within the Toy Story timeline that they can go to the movies and watch.
Yes. Okay. Which I believe. Because what I said. What did I say again?
You said that this would be the story about how the man who inspired the toy, essentially.
Am I wrong, would you say?
Yes.
Why do you think so?
Because the man who inspired the toy would be an actual astronaut from the 60s.
No, an actual astronaut in the Toy Story universe.
From the 60s, because Toy Story takes place in the 90s. And so the toy would be based off a real person within that time frame.
Right.
The time frame in this movie, from the trailer, it looks like, is not the 90s or before that. It's futuristic.
Huh. I did not think about that.
Which means, imagine this is the MCU. Like, based off of the characters of Buzz Lightyear.
I don't know what that sentence means, but okay.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? So for the lore of it, that makes me interested a little more. You know what I mean? To try to see who's right and who's wrong in this situation between me.
If you're right, I'd be super mad, actually. Like, not because you're right, but because of how they botched the 90s and the technology.
You know what? Here's a thought where I feel like you could be right. I'm trying to think. So, would you argue that Lightyear is a fictional character with a toy and a movie based on it?
We don't know.
Because then, if that's the case, that would support your theory.
But,
would you say? Because that would
Yeah, Lightyear being a fictional character. He could be a non-fictional person, but like if that's the case, that's not what this movie is on.
We'll find out.
We'll
It's
find
gonna be
out.
a good time.
Although I think it's not, because it wouldn't really make sense with the world that's established.
Well, when do movies ever make sense?
When we tell them to. Because if they don't, they don't. Did you see Eternals?
It's coming out this weekend.
Okay.
Upcoming,
It's hard to
so.
tell with just...
Yeah. No, I legitimately thought it was this weekend too, and I'm like, oh wait, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's this weekend internationally.
So this is what I did want to say about Eternals. Sorry, I was talking about Beauty. Eternals is made to be a cinematic movie. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they got their Academy Award winning director to direct it, which, I mean, she won the award after Eternals was essentially filmed. But, you know, she's that level.
Okay.
From what I'm hearing, like, they want to try to submit it for awards and such. So from what I'm understanding, it's going to be a visually cinematic movie, you know what I mean? Compared to the other MCU entries. I am not expecting the movie to be good at all. Mid at best, especially considering that Eternals is now the first MCU movie that has gotten a Rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Before the movies even come out, yeah.
Uh-huh. So I'm not expecting an amazing movie. Regardless, I'm intending to get the most expensive ticket at the IMAX theater because it's going to be a nice seat, so I can be at least comfortable, if not even fall asleep.
IMAX?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's a theater in town. Like, I'm not going to drive to Springfield to see this stupid movie.
Okay.
And Springfield has the normal theater. Like, yeah, I'm going to go see an IMAX. Why not?
Okay.
But I'm going to get the nicest seat, so I can, if I'm bored, at least I'm comfortable.
Okay, you'll fall asleep.
Exactly. That's the point.
All right.
The most expensive nap I'll take.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hope it will be engaging enough, but from what I'm hearing, it drags and it's longer than Infinity War, so I'm not expecting much.
And other news, today is Halloween.
Yay. It's almost done a year.
Did you do anything?
Yeah, I didn't do anything either.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have done anything, but the church had a harvest festival today, and so I just went.
Okay. Nice.
I dressed up as a character that I did in the play.
Okay, fun.
I went for like 30 minutes, and then I went home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
If there is, I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
Like SonicCon a week ago, like I could talk about so much, but it's like I'm just talking to you, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Hey, at least I'm engaged.
At least this time you're still awake.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. I also sent you the makeup pictures that I was doing.
Yes, you have. Got to go to the hospital.
I got some Neosporin.
Yeah.
It was injury makeup. And so like I had like makeup with me with cuts on it. I had like this burn, which I was very proud of. And that was fun.
So
yeah, and now I'm not looking forward to everything coming up because tomorrow's November.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's coming in this next few weeks. I'm just
school stuff.
I'm just so blah. I'm so blah. Like my youth ministries class is just so stupidly organized right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where next week, not this week, but next week, I have a paper, like a 14-page paper due. mixed with another 2-page paper that's also due from the same class. And the week after that, we're supposed to have a group presentation in that class. However, the professor was like, you know what? Let's do that a week early. And so the 3 biggest things in that class is like all due in the same week. And I'm like, what? No. Not to mention, that's just one class. I have other classes as well.
Yeah, that's rough.
And I also have a play. And that gives me no time to do that stuff. I'm gonna die. My gosh. I'm gonna die by the end of this. Oh man, this is rough.
Have a good time.
Yes, anyway, I think we should get going.
Oh, really? Because I had 1 or 2 smallish things.
Gary, give me those
why
things.
not?
Give me those things.
I heard that Chris Hemsworth signed a deal for 3 more Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Those could be cameos. Maybe not. But he will be in after Thor 4. So that is good news in my book.
All right.
What I think is it Empire magazine? They had a cover story for Spider-Man.
Oh, yes, they did.
And in the article, they confirmed Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Yes, they did.
Oh my gosh. Because from what I'm hearing, that they were hoping the trailer could release on the 25th and the article would release on the 28th or something. That's what I heard. Obviously, we got no trailer on the 25th, but we still got the article. So I think the article is more or less supposed to affirm the trailer than confirm the information. Regardless, I mean, we both were positively sure of the appearance of both Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I had no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
That they were going to be
I mean, yeah, especially the past few months, I'm like, they're in. Like, you can't deny it anymore.
You can't deny it. When Andrew Garfield's like, I've never seen any of the videos. And everyone's like, oh, actually, I did see them. They're photoshopped.
John, I think the whole movie is just going to be photoshopped.
Yeah. I mean, and people were saying that too. It's like, what if Garfield sold his rights, his facial rights, and that's what's actually in the movie? Not him himself, but his appearance.
He's in it. Like, there's no doubt about it.
He's in it. Just like he's in it.
Yeah.
CJ can doubt all he wants, but he's in it.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I didn't need the confirmation. However, I did at the same time because it just feels nice to like not like it's almost like I knew, but there was no confirmation to back me up.
Yeah.
Now I know, and now I have something to back me up, and that just feels so nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from what I've heard, and sources could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen enough people say the same thing, that Marvel and Sony have been arguing about how to do the trailer and poster.
Yes.
So.
And like, we're not gonna get a new Spider-Man trailer until we get another Morbius trailer.
Apparently. Yeah. So I'm at the point where I just want another trailer, for Spider-Man. Like, I really want Spider-Man.
I finally finished season 7 of Smallville.
Okay, so you really yes, and how was that?
I mean, part of it was like I was just so busy.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't watch it, and then I was like, I don't really care. Yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
It was done. It's finally finished. But it was also like, oh, now this character has left the show. Like,
the annoying girl?
Yes, she has an exit. But
Good.
from what I hear, she comes back.
Sad.
Your main like secondary character, the antagonist in the entire show, he's gone now. And it's like, what? Like, that's the only tolerable part of that girl was the guy. Now he's gone. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. The next season. I might not even be able to finish the show because like my Hulu thing ends this month. Yeah.
Oh. Well, if you keep, how many episodes are in a season?
22.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a lot. 3 seasons left.
Yeah, like I'll finish one more season for sure beforehand, but it's I might not even finish season 8 with like all the work I have coming.
What a good fun time.
I had a moment this past week.
What's this moment?
Where I lost a flash drive.
No.
Like I used it to like go and print something, and I lost it. And I was like, oh darn, that was a good flash drive. And it's like I would have either lost it in a parking lot or somewhere on campus or in a Walmart.
Well, Liberty does have what's that called? Lost and found?
Yes. But you know something?
No, I do not know anything.
So, like, I drove up to a random spot, and right on the curb was my flash drive.
Well, at least you got it.
I know. And
wow.
My first thought is I texted a friend, it's like, God is so good. It's like, I found my flash drive. And, like, I just found that so funny. Because it's like, you hear that all the time. And it's like, oh, God provided money. God helped save me from the surgery. For me, it's like, I found my flash drive. God is so good. But no, it really was just like, just so impossible how out of everywhere it's just like the exact spot I pull up to, and the first thing I see is like, oh, there it is, neat. Puts it back in my pocket.
Wow.
With that, we should really start ending this episode.
Oh, what? Really? And why do you say so?
We're almost 2 hours now.
We what?
We're an hour 45 minutes in this one.
What? I have one quick question.
Yes.
You saw about the delays of the movies, did you?
What movies?
The MCU movies?
I heard something going on. It was mainly because DC announced all their stuff is like next year.
You think that's why?
I think it's more so they want to delay it because of Batman. Because they think that's like their main competition.
Because, I mean, I guess there could be some sense with that, but also from what I heard, like, production. Like, here's the thing, like, MCU doing 4 movies next year, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot. I mean, they are doing 4 this year, but, still, So, like, and I was legitimately wondering, like, would they be able to do all that? And it's obvious they couldn't.
Yeah.
And, like, especially Doctor Strange, like, I'm just expecting that to be just a massive movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it makes sense that they're delaying it to get it done, in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I also wouldn't be surprised about the Batman thing, but also, like, especially Doctor Strange, like, I'm just expecting that to be such a massive movie, so that makes sense. It gets delayed. You know what I mean?
There is another thing. Alec Baldwin, an actor, accidentally killed someone on set, which was shocking to me because it's like, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like, that man's career is now over. It's like,
Is it?
maybe not from like a studio standpoint, but like from an actor standpoint, I don't think he can return to a set afterwards. Like it's.
Because I mean, at the end, well, like I cannot deny how tragic it is, but I'm really curious, like how, like, obviously it's an ongoing situation. It's like, how are they going to approach all this? Like, really curious. And then, legitimately, in my mind, I thought due to the age of CGI, I thought everything is CGI at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think that, but then you learn, a lot of things are actually still practical.
I mean, what? Jennifer Lawrence, with the new Netflix movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and everyone else. I heard that there was like an onset, explosion, for effects and such, and the glass actually cut her eye. So it's just crazy. Because like I also with that was thinking like I thought that's CGI at this point.
But I mean, here's the thing. I'm glad that they're not just pushing everything to CGI because it's like
that's fair.
Because then nothing's like none of this is real. It just all looks fake. Because you don't need to make a fake gun. But also, like, I think a lot of people are like wanting to have practical effects because it feels real. But it's like, it's also like this prop gun shouldn't have been loaded, and it was.
And like, if it's true that they cut people from the team due to either costs or whatever.
I mean, from
like
what we were hearing about production of that thing, like it was terrible. Like the conditions were terrible. Like the gun was actually apparently faulty beforehand, and they still gave it to him.
Like that's just so bad.
Yeah.
Like if, in my mind, like I'm not going to make a comment about whether there should be on set effects or not, but you gotta, like, if you're gonna have dangerous things, you gotta
need
have safety down.
You need a higher standard, and you need a props person who takes it seriously. So yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. I don't think so. I can't think of anything really at the moment. Disney Plus Day in about 2 weeks. Yay!
Oh yeah, we're gonna get a new trailer. Oof. For stuff. New trailers for stuff. That's exciting.
And probably announcements for shows.
Oh,
hopefully, like we'll actually get like. I'm the one thing I'm personally just hoping is that they'll say Loki season 2 is on the way. Not that like I'm dying for it, but at the same time, like they have so many things.
I'm sure they'll say they'll give us like a sizzle reel of season 1 and be like, "Hey, we're having a season 2 coming." And like, here we go.
I hope they do.
I'm pretty sure we have a season 2.
I mean, they confirmed a season 2 at the end of this episode. Sorry, the season finale.
They did, yes.
So I just want like the Disney Plus Day to say, yeah, coming in 2025. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Loki season 2. I just want something like that. Yeah. Is there anything you're wanting from that day? Just honestly, I don't know enough.
Just my Star Wars stuff.
Like, yeah, that's fair.
The trailer for the Boba Fett series, and like maybe some stuff like sneak peeks for other shows as well. We'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll see. Other than that, For those strange people still listening to us right now, come back next week for our 100 episode special. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. That definitely was not recorded over a year ago.
All right,
yeah.
guys.
Yes, thank you guys so much for
It's been
listening.
a good time.
We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.